Hey everybody, welcome to episode 39 of the Fiberista Files. Today is actually Monday, June 27th. I am recording a day late today. I had company yesterday before, my husband's best friend showed up right before I was getting ready to record. So I wasn't able to get everything done that I needed to and record last night. And then True Blood came on, and I wasn't going to miss that. So I decided I was just going to wait until everybody went to work on Monday and I would get it done Monday morning. So today's Monday. I'm Heather. If you haven't ever joined me before, I am your hostess for the Fiberista Files. If you have joined me in the past, welcome back. This is going to be a good one. You're going to see me lean toward the screen quite a bit today because I decided that instead of doing my show notes on the notebook paper, so I have to turn it around, I would do it on my computer has this program called Sticky Notes, which basically makes a digital Post-it note. And that digital Post-it note is what I'm using my show notes on. So if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm reading my show notes. And there are a lot of show notes. It's been kind of a busy week for not being a dying week. And I'll get into that in a minute. But it's been kind of a crazy week. So why don't we get started? I'm going to start out with knitting because summer vacation is great for me as far as knitting goes. And I have been getting crap done. Yeah. So, first up, last week I showed you the Atrix Baby Hat by Justine Turner. I've completed that hat except for the button. I need to just sew on a button right here on the end. I'm using the end that I cast off with, the end that I would normally weave in. I'm going to use that to put a little button right here. This little strap comes around. You can see that. And attaches. It's supposed to look a little bit kind of like an aviator hat, one of those old, sort of bombing, those leather caps. It looks a little wonky because I haven't blocked it. I need like a grapefruit, like an orange isn't quite big enough. I just had the yarn in there. But we don't eat grapefruit. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I have to find a baseball or a softball or something to block it. But this hat is super cute. I did the 6-month size following the sport weight directions, but I did the entire thing with a US 2 needle, which is 2.75 millimeters, and fingering weight yarn. This is Intention Yarns Focus. And it's not like I want the baby to focus on anything, just that I like the colors. They can be masculine, but they are gender neutral enough, I think, that a little girl would be cute in them. So, I did modify the pattern a little bit. There was nothing wrong with the pattern. I just, partially due to the yarn and partially due to my inherent need to modify patterns, I did make a few changes. I did it with the fingering weight yarn instead of the sport weight yarn. This strap is supposed to be 42 rounds, and I did 50 rounds just to make it a little bit longer. I mean, it's stretchy. It stretches quite a bit, so it's not like this is going to choke anybody, but I'd rather it was maybe too wide instead of too short. It's really hard to show you and hold it at the same time. Which way's the front? Which way's this is the front. There's a front and a back. The back ribbing is a lot longer than the front ribbing. I don't know if you can see that. This is the front and this is the back. So the hat actually should tip like that. So anyways, I did a longer strap. And instead of where you get down to 5 stitches on the ear flaps and then you're supposed to cast off. And I actually ended doing knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, and then knitting 3 together to wind it off so it was a little bit pointier. It just sort of continued the shape. And I did the same thing for the strap. You end up with 3 after the strap and then you're supposed to do the regular cast off. And I just knit 3 together and called it good. A really small change, just one that was a little bit easier for me to do, a little bit faster. This entire hat weighs 17 grams. Now, fingering weight yarn, or at least my fingering weight yarn, is about 4 yards per gram. So that averages out to just under 70 yards of yarn for the entire hat. Holy crap. It seems like it should be way more than that, but it's not. It really is just, I think it's like 63.8 yards. So it's like 65 yards probably. I still have this much yarn left. I could knit another 2 hats with this. I might save this and make some preemie caps for the Sweet Caroline project or the Remembering Remy project. That will depend. I might use this for some, who knows. I might make a monster out of it. We'll see. But I love this pattern. It was a good little pattern. When you're reading it, it doesn't look like it will make sense. And then when you knit it, it totally makes sense and it works. So trust the pattern. Yeah. So there are a lot of really cute projects of those out. So take a look through it on Ravelry. It's called the Atrix Baby Hat, and see what it is. So also, I have finally completed the heels on the oven mitt socks for my husband. They're called oven, let me show you. They're called oven mitt socks because they are freaking enormous. Because my husband has these huge, like, hobbit feet. I don't want to say they're gross. I love my husband. But he has these freakishly large paddle feet. This is an average sock, okay? This is a sock for a women's, you know, medium width. I'm a size 9.5 foot, so it's a pretty long sock. This is one of my husband's socks. Now you can see clearly that this sock goes way out over the edge of mine. This is the sock. Like, let's hold your hand up. Like, really? You can't even see my hand because it's huge. This is just the foot. My husband has a size 13 triple E foot. I have been knitting on these. I cast on originally July 12th, I think, of 2009. So it's been almost 2 years. I had started these socks with this beautiful Saxon braid going up the top, and he didn't like it because it was too fancy. So I ripped it out. And then I decided, I started that on size 0. So I decided on a plain stockinette sock. So I cast those on with size 0s. The fabric was a little firmer than it needed to be, and really on size 0s, you don't get anywhere. These socks are huge. So I ripped them out again, cast them on again with size 1s, and I was doing those with my circular, a pair of Cirque size 1s. And then I dropped a stitch, and then I was just unhappy with the size because I had miscalculated the number of stitches, so they were too big, and I was like, there's no way there's going to be enough yarn, so I ripped them out again. So this is like the 4th time I've knit these. Thankfully, I didn't get very far either time. The 4th time I decided, there's no way I'm going to knit 2 socks out of this. There's no way. So I better do them 2 at a time because when I get one done, you can forget about me ever getting the second one done. So what I did was I cast them both on. I'm doing these magic loop. I don't really like magic loop. I'm not sure if maybe my needles are just not long enough. These are Addy Lace Turbo needles. I'm not really a huge fan of this cable, to be completely honest. It's got more memory than the Knit Picks cables do, which are what I'm more familiar with working on, and I just don't really like it. It's just really fiddly to have to turn them around. But anyways, sorry, moving on. I did the Wendy Johnson plain gusset heel. I just watched the Knit Girls' latest episode this morning, and Lala did these on her hand-spun socks. In fact, Lala was talking about this graph that Wendy Knits has for her socks, and it doesn't matter how many stitches you cast on. If you use Wendy Knits' handy dandy little chart, you can do the gusset heel. And I did the largest size. These socks started out with 80 stitches, and I ended up going on needle 2, which had 40 stitches, all the way up to 72 stitches before I did, for the gusset increases, before I did the heel turn. So here's the sock, and you can see the heel looks a little pointy. I was a little concerned about that at first because I was worried that he wouldn't like it, and if he's not going to wear these socks, I'm going to divorce him. Like, really, after 2 years, you need to wear these stinking socks everywhere. But I tried these on his feet because, of course, they're toe up, so you can put them on, and I've put them on him several times to make sure they fit because I'm not doing them again. And that point comes right out when it's on his feet, and he doesn't notice it. And it's a straight heel, not a slip stitch heel, so there's no added bulk here, so it will still fit him inside his socks, or inside his sneakers, rather, and won't add any bulk because he doesn't like bulk. And you'll notice that the toes are almost straight. I cast on a lot of stitches to begin with and only did a few increases because he doesn't like tight toes. He wants room for his toes to flap around. So all this is like extra, and it doesn't even, his toes don't fit in it. But these are almost done. I've done maybe half an inch on top of the gusset. this top of the gusset, so there's maybe half an inch here. And I'm going to get to an inch and then do an inch of ribbing, and then I think I'll be almost out of yarn. This is how much I have left for each sock. I haven't weighed it, but I'm gonna try and use it all up. This yarn is yarn I bought 2 years ago at Fiber Frolic. It is Enchanted Knoll Farms Superwash sock yarn. I think it's 100%. No, it's 90% superwash merino and 10% nylon. I think it's 435 yards. This is how much sock 435 yards will get you. That's a crap ton of sock. Our wedding anniversary is Thursday, and I'm hoping to have these done on Thursday to give to him as an anniversary present, seeing as how he's waited 2 years for these. So, finally progress is being made on those, and those are flying now that I'm back down to 80 stitches instead of 112 stitches per stinking sock. I'm going to move this chair over here so I can put my feet up. Yeah. So, that's that. I also dug back out my Evenstar. I told you guys that I was going to do that now that Giro Soleil is done, and I've got it hanging there just to look at. Evenstar is one of those projects that I worked on really, really hard and then lost my steam. So, I have not cast it back on. I've taken it out of hibernation. And I originally started this as part of the Evenstar Mystery Shawl Knit Along a year ago or whatever it was that Susan Pandorf came out with the pattern. And I was going like gangbusters until I got to Clue 5, and then that was when I lost steam. I saved the original pattern when it was all done, and Susan Pandorf sent everybody the completed Evenstar. She had made some adjustments to the chart. So instead of having 6 clues, there were 3 charts in the edging. And I had a hard time linking up where I was in the clues to where I was on the finished charts. So I'm just going to stick with the clue chart until I get to the second set of Evenstars, which is maybe 10 rows from where I'm at right now. At that point, I'll be able to look at the original pattern, the finished pattern, and I'll be able to go from there. So I'm in Clue 5, which is chart 3, I think. Now you can see here that I have the twisted stitch columns, and they split, and the columns right here, they kind of come together. Right here, they come together. And then in the spaces where they've split, this is where the next Evenstars will go. I really do like this pattern. It really makes you work. It's not hard, you just have to pay attention. I also think that these slip stitches, I've got dark yarn, and I don't think that the stitches pop as much as they would over the light yarn. I think if I had known that going in, I wouldn't have done twisted stitches. I would have done slip stitches and just had columns of slip stitches because it would have been way faster. Twisted stitches take me for freaking ever. And the twisted decreases, like knit 3 together twisted, the one stitch alone takes me like 30 seconds. So every round takes me like an hour if it's a pattern round. It takes me about 45 minutes if it's a rest round. And a rest round still has twisted stitches. It just doesn't have any decreases. You can see that I have a ton of stitch markers. This was recommended in the Lord of the Rings Evenstar Mystery Knit Along Ravelry group. They are Dunkin' Donuts straws. You can see there's orange and pink there. You just take a straw and you cut rings out of it. They're simple. They slide really easy. They can be as thin or as thick as you can cut them. You can see I have like this one's a thinner one. They don't cost anything. They're lightweight. I don't care if I lose them. And I have an almost infinite supply because really, how many rings can you get out of a single straw? A bunch. I do have real stitch markers. This is from Knitter's Brewing Company, and this one is from Wool Girl, marking just the beginning of the round and then the halfway point of the round, because sometimes I have to stop at the halfway point because I don't have time, or sometimes I just have to stop. So I'm trying to do between 1 and 3 rows a day. So lately it's been more like 1 and not so much like 3. An hour of knitting time a day on one project is a lot. I can get a lot more done on a sock in an hour than I can on this. But Stephen of Dramatic Knits and Erin of Mommy Needs Yarn are both doing these, and I have to beat them. I'm an uber competitive person, and I don't have to win but I have to beat somebody else. So I've chosen Steven. I'm not too worried about Mommy Needs Yarn. She's got like a million projects going right now. But Steven, I have to beat you. So I will be working on this to get this done so that I can beat him. This is being knit on US 4 needles or 3.5 millimeter needles. I did that because A, my gauge swatch was a little bit smaller than what Susan Pandorf said, and B, with US 4s I can use my interchangeable knit picks and I don't have to buy a fixed circular. So this is kind of, you can see it's kind of cramped on here. I could move up to a bigger needle, but I think I'm just going to stay with it. It's not terrible. I'm just going to stick with it. The yarn is, let me check my notes. Doesn't say. That's dumb. It is Knit Picks Shadow in the Midnight Heather colorway, which is a navy blue, almost black. I do not recommend knitting complicated shawls out of dark, stupid yarn. I don't know what possessed me to do that in this yarn. I'm never doing that again. Ever. You have to sit in almost direct sunlight or have a light shining directly on you so that you can see what you're doing. And when you make a mistake, it's almost impossible to figure out what the frick you did because you can't see it. It's too dark. So thankfully I haven't messed up too much. And those times that I have messed up, I just decided to fudge it and keep going. Guess who's going to be able to see it? Nobody. All right. So let's see. That's Atrix Baby Hat, Hubs on the Oven Mitt Socks, Evenstar. Okay. Because I finished the Atrix Baby Hat, that meant that I got to cast on something new. So, I hemmed and hawed a little bit about what to cast on. I decided to start knitting the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Reese's Pieces yarn that I bought that I showed you a couple of weeks ago. I am going to be knitting, and of course I just pushed it on here for a row. Let me get the needle back out. I am starting a self-striping sock. I started this last night. True Blood season premiere was last night, so we watched the cliffhanger from the season before and then the new episode. So about 2 hours of knitting time, and I did do a couple of rounds this morning while I watched the Knit Girls. But this, you can see, is knitting it beautifully. It's so soft. It's so luscious. The stripes are fantastic. I'm freaking in love. This yarn is 100% superwash merino, 400 yards, 100 grams. I don't normally knit with superwash merino because superwash merino is a short, very soft fiber and it pills. I'm going to make an exception. I freaking love this yarn. It's so soft and smooth and smushy. I love it. I probably won't be able to machine wash these socks because of the pilling, but that's okay. I'll just have to hand wash them. It will be worth it. I did the math when I wound the yarn into the ball. I counted the stripes. I started with the yellow, which is here on the toe, and I counted how many times I had yellow stripes, and I got to like 23 or 24, so I could do basically 11 pattern repeats, 11 color repeats, so it would be 11 sets of yellow, orange, brown, 11 times. I think I'm going to stop at 10. That would be 30 stripes. And since I just turned 30, I'll talk about that in a minute, they'll be my 30th birthday socks. So in a colorway I love, in a yarn I love, from a dyer I love, I think that will be great. And that won't count the heel. Obviously, this is going to be done with an afterthought heel, which I've not done before. I'm going to watch the Knit Girls tutorial. Everybody's been doing them lately, so I'm pretty sure I can handle it. So, yeah, these are going to be 30th birthday socks. And once I get some pictures taken, that will go up on Rav in my projects page. I still have to take pictures of the Atrix Baby Hat. I got to figure out how to block it so I can get a decent picture of it. A bowl won't work. I'm going to have to find some fruit or something, take a picture in the grocery store, maybe just stick it over the grapefruit and then do it. I don't know how else to do it. All right. I have also been completing projects in other crafts as well. 2 other crafts specifically. The first was some spinning. Now I showed you last week the Shetland singles that I had. I wound on into center pull balls, and I did finish that. I applied it this weekend. I thought I was going to apply it Monday or Tuesday, and it took me until Saturday afternoon to apply it. That's how crazy this week has been, and I'll talk about that in a minute. This is my finished yarn. It's very subtle. It's beautiful, rustic. You can see there's some woolly boogers and stuff in there. This yarn is not terribly balanced. I tried really hard to ply it in a relaxed, oh no, I suppose that's all right. Look at that, that's not so bad. I tried not to put too much twist in the plies, but when you get towards the full bobbin, it doesn't want to suck on anymore. It doesn't want to pull itself in to wind around the bobbin, so I end up with too much twist. Everybody says the Kromsky bobbins. I have a Kromsky Minstrel. Everyone says that they're 4-ounce bobbins. They're freaking liars because I can barely get 2 ounces singles, and I almost can't at all get 2 ounces plied on there. I don't know. Maybe it's me. It very well could be me. I might have to take a class or something to figure out how to get more on my bobbins because I'm pissy every time I try and get 2 ounces on there because I have to like physically manually wind the bobbin to get the yarn on there. It slows me down and that's irritating. Anyway, I was hoping for a little bit more yardage than I got. These are the individual strands. You can see they're pretty even, which I'm very pleased with. It's about a fingering weight. I got 426 yards out of the 4 ounces. I was hoping for more like 530, but that just didn't happen. I'm about 100 yards short, so I guess I'm not the great spinner that I kind of thought I was. And this has not been washed or whacked yet, and this will bloom considerably once it's been... I don't whack my yarn. That's such a lie. I soak it, and then I hang it, and then it dries. And it's going to be sunny and 80 today, so I'm going to actually soak it, and then I'm going to hang it outside. Just drape it over my clothesline and just let the wind dry it. So it will be floofy and smushy. It will probably go up to a sport weight once it's done. So the question is, what do I knit out of this? I love the way the camera shows that off. That's exactly what it looks like. Two things I was going to knit out of this. I was either going to knit a hitchhiker, which was my original plan, which is why I wanted a little over 500 yards, or an Ishbel. Now, hitchhiker is done in garter stitch, and it takes, I mean, you can kind of stop it whenever. If you don't get the 42 points, then you don't get the 42 points. But I was wondering if I went up in needle size to like a 4 or a 5. Probably will be a 5 because my 4s are in my Evenstar right now. If I went up to a 5, would it still be big enough, even if I couldn't get the 42 points? I don't know. I hate to rip out hand spun because it doesn't hold up as well as commercial yarn to ripping. So I have some concerns about doing the hitchhiker. And the other one is Ishbel, and I think I could get, this is a standard skein of sock yarn, so I could get an Ishbel, the smaller Ishbel, out of this. What do you think? Should I knit a hitchhiker or should I knit an Ishbel? You guys tell me. I'll put up a thread in the Ravelry group, or you can plurk me or leave a comment on the blog. What do you think? Should this be an Ishbel or should this be a hitchhiker? You tell me. I don't know. I don't know which one to make. I have both patterns in my library, but I don't know which one to knit. So that's that. And then, if you are a member of the Mommy Needs Yarn Ravelry group, you know that she did a sew-along. And the sew-along was for a pleated handbag. Now, I am not much of a sewer. But I don't know, maybe a month ago, I sewed some cushion covers for our pop-up camper. And they came out fantastic. I'm so bummed I put them in the camper and closed it up before I showed you guys, because I was totally in awe of my own sewing prowess because they came out perfectly. So I decided I was going to do the sew along. I went to Joann, I bought fabric, I had to pick it all out myself, I found the main fabric, and then I had to go and find fabric that matched because there was no kit or anything. So I did that, and then I also bought, I didn't know which kind of fusible fleece or which kind of fusible interfacing to buy because I'd never purchased either, didn't even know what it was, had to ask the girl where it was. She's like, it's over there, duh. I'm like, she didn't say duh, but that was implied. So I had to read the directions that came in because I didn't know. I mean, there was a huge learning curve. There is a tutorial, and I will link the tutorial in the show notes. So if you want to knit, sew one, you may. This is the bag as it came out. I think I did a fantastic job. Of course, I've already got stuff in here, so it's kind of like lumpy. This was the fabric that I found originally, and I loved it. So I picked just colors out of there. It's on a light gray background. It's kind of hard to see maybe, but it's just sort of a floral thing. I picked the yellow for the top, and this is kind of wrinkly. I didn't iron it, so it's a little bit wrinkly, but I used the same fabric for the straps. And then inside, you're supposed to use a magnetic closure, but I forgot to buy one, so I just did regular snaps that I had lying around. And then the inside fabric is a speckly gray. And then I used the same yellow as the top, and then some dark blue for the patch pockets. And you can see I've got my wool roll pen, and I have in my what's in the patch pocket? I think it's my lip balm, which I need, which is Pepsi Vanilla. Wrong way. Pepsi Vanilla lip balm. This stuff is amazing. I love Pepsi Vanilla. They don't make it anymore. If you live in an area where they have Pepsi Vanilla, I will pay you money to ship it to me. I'll pay you good money because I love Pepsi Vanilla. And the closest I can get now is regular Pepsi with vanilla schnapps in it. And they frown on that during the day, turns out. Especially when you're, driving and things to do. So, if you have Pepsi Vanilla, I'd love to have some. Okay, so this is the bag. I think it went very fantastic. I did do the piping. I did not do the piping up here in the top band because I wasn't paying attention and didn't do it. So I started it right here where the piping goes across, and the piping goes all the way down and around and then back up again to that same spot. They said that you had to use this piping foot and you had to do all this other stuff and pin it. I didn't pin it at all. I just kind of held it with my fingers. I knew sort of where the piping was. And you know what? I stitched right next to it. I had no problems. Don't be afraid of the piping. The piping part was not bad at all. The top stitching, I think I did pretty good on that too. Pretty straight for being freehand. I used very few pins because I'm lazy and I don't like pinning things. So, or I would pin it like in 2 places and then just sort of freehand the rest. But I love this bag. I think it came out great. If I had to do it again, I would not do as big pleats because it is kind of narrow up here and kind of hard to get in to see what you're doing. But I was pretty impressed with that. So, Mommy, have I seen yours? Erin, have I seen your bag yet? I don't think I have. Mine's done. You're it. Okay, I feel like I'm sinking in this chair because I'm leaning back because my feet are in the other one. All right. Let's see. Let's see, I'll link that in the show notes. Piping foot. Oh yeah, there was one place I screwed up. The snaps were a little bit too high. And so when I did the top stitching on the bag, you can see right there I had to go around the snap. But the rest of the time it went pretty straight. So one little screw up. I don't think anybody would notice if I didn't point it out. So I'm sliding. Okay. Let's get to my regularly scheduled program, huh? I'm 27 minutes in and I haven't even talked about my regular sections. This is going to be a lot like last week. I'm sorry. Okay, dye pots. Nothing. I didn't dye this week. My fiber order, which I thought I was going to get late last week, I thought I was going to get it like Thursday, is not scheduled for delivery until this afternoon at 3 o'clock. I'm very upset. I don't understand why all of a sudden my fiber supplier is taking so long to ship the orders. I mean, realistically, it's like 3 days, but it used to be the next day. So all of a sudden now it's taking me 3 more days and I have to factor that into my estimates. It takes me about 10 days now from the day that I order to the day that I get my fiber, not counting weekends or holidays or anything like that. So really, I need to just order every week so that I have fiber come every week. At least then it would be consistent. That's what I need to do. My goal is to have all of this fiber. It's a 30-pound package. It's to have the entire thing divided, dyed, dried, labeled, listed within 2 weeks. So half this week, half next week. Barring any life-changing events, that should be doable. If I get it today, I hope to have everything divided fiber-wise tonight and the yarn at least started. So we'll see. There's not going to be any update this week except for some spindles. I want to restock the spindles. Sorry. Millie Bella of Keegan Lane Yarns is having an update today, so go check her out. I'll link her in the show notes and buy some stuff from her instead and come back next week. There'll be lots of good stuff next week. Okay. All right, processes. Now, I ordered books from Interweave Press's Hurt Book Sale. the last week of school. I like cheap books. I don't mind if they have a wrinkled cover or whatever. I'm going to do worse to it anyway. And several other people on Plurk did as well. But what we noticed was not only were shipping prices very expensive, but it was taking a really long time for our orders to ship. It took 8 days for them to ship my order of 2 books. That's unacceptable. If I waited 8 days to ship people their packages, they'd be pissed and they'd never buy from me again. And it would be all over the internet. How am I crappy, business person because I wait 8 days to ship things? No question. I mean, I pride myself on my shipping being quick anyway, but really, 8 days is unacceptable. Associated Bag had it shipped out the next day, and they're a big company. And they called me to check on it, to change my shipping. And I got more from them anyway. So anyways, I'm not known for being the quietest of people. And I'm not rude. I'm not a shouter. But when I see something that's wrong, I will mention it, especially when other people are suffering. So I wrote on my blog this open letter to Interweave Press, and it's on the blog at highlandhandmaids.com if you want to read it, but I'll read it to you. It says, Dear Interweave Press, on June 13th, 2011 at 11:09 a.m., I ordered 2 books from your Hurt book sale. I paid $10.69 shipping, which is a lot of money to ship 2 books via USPS parcel post, the cheapest and slowest form of shipping, which it is. I figured that some of the shipping costs would go to handling and processing my order. I did not expect that for my $10.69, I would have to wait until June 21st, today, this was last Tuesday, to have my order shipped. That's almost 8 days processing time. I'm sure you folks at Interweave receive a lot of orders during the Hurt book sale. Many people, like myself, who can't afford to pay retail prices, shop sales like this one. However, to charge outrageous shipping and handling and still wait more than a week to ship items that you clearly have in stock already, because again, this is Hurt books, it's stuff that they have that is damaged, is unacceptable. I love the knitting books Interweave puts out, but I will never order from interweavepress.com again. There are a lot of places to get good knitting books, places that value my money and time a lot more than Interweave does. Sincerely, Heather Kinney. P.S. Please understand that I will be letting my friends know via social media that Interweave does not put a priority on quick customer service. I love to post about great knitting-related items that I find, but I must also post about the things that let me down. P.P.S. I just checked your site, which states that my order will ship within 2 to 4 business days. Not should, but will. Maybe I should reword that bit. Now, that's a little snarky, and I understand that that's a little snarky. But I was irritated. 8 days is unacceptable, especially for $10.69 worth of shipping. You can kiss it, because for that day, that kind of a wait, I ought to get it for free. Really, I should. Amazon Super Saver shipping, which is their slow, cheap shipping, doesn't take that long. It's ridiculous. So I wrote the blog post, and then I linked it on Plurk, and I tweeted it, and I posted it on Facebook. All the social media that I use. Now, I know that Interweave Press has a person on Twitter. She follows one of my, I can't remember now if she follows Intention Yarns or Fiberista Files, but I know she follows one of them. And I had the Intention Yarns retweet it from the Fiberista Files so that it was all over. And I, clearly stated, people, please retweet this. A couple of people on my Plurk were irritated at the shipping situation as well. So within minutes, I had a response from Interweave Press on Twitter. Public response. And, they were like, oh, I'm really sorry. And let me actually read it to you because I don't want to be wrong. They said, blah, blah. I don't care. Hootsuite. She said, I'm sorry we disappointed you. Our normal 1 to 3 business day turnaround is 5 to 7 business days for Hurt books. We've hired temporary warehouse workers to step up shipping. Customers increased 75% over last year. Anything I can do to make you feel better? Email me. We really do care. Okay. I emailed her. I said, all right, at least she responded, and I'll email her. So let me pull up my email. I emailed her because I was really I knew that the public response was going to get more than, I knew that Twitter was going to get the response because everybody can see it. So, let's see, what did I email to her? My email to her said, I appreciate your quick response via Twitter. Thanks for trying to make it right. I'm not sure, however, that there's anything you can do. It wasn't as though something went wrong during ordering. It just took way too long. I do have a few suggestions for future Hurt book sales. Number 1, state upfront in several places that shipping times for Hurt books are a different timeline than usual in a Reef Press shipping. I was prepared to wait 2 to 4 days. It was the 8 days that was to me excessive. I couldn't find anywhere on the Reef Press site that specified Hurt books were slower to ship. And why is that anyway? You have them in stock. They're not backordered or anything. 2, shipping is awfully expensive for parcel post. Is there another way to ship that's less expensive? For that price, I expect at least first-class shipping. Even priority flat rate is less than that, and flat rate is notoriously expensive. That's all I have, really. Again, I appreciate your speedy response and hope that some good can come from this. I'm looking forward to receiving the books I ordered. I should get them by early next week. Sincerely, Heather Kinney. Now, again, I'm a little snarky, but that's completely polite. I was not rude. I did not swear. I did not call them names. Flat out. Dear Heather is my response. Thank you for your comments, and I completely understand your frustration. The first few days of our sale, we experienced a 75% increase in customer orders over last year and had to hire some temporary warehouse workers to help meet the demand. It's a great problem to have, but it took us a couple days to update the site and acknowledge the delay. Customers now see upon checkout and in the email confirmation bounce back with their order information about the high volume and shipping of 5 to 7 business days. Notice, though, aside, that they did not bother to email anybody who had already ordered and apologize and say, P.S., it's going to take us a few more days. That would have gone so far to have alleviated my frustration. They didn't bother. They didn't really, I think that it was worth it to let us all know. We will definitely be ramped up again for next year. We were blown away with the social media response to this year's sale, the biggest change over 2010. Our customer service team would be happy to refund you 50% of your shipping, and I have copied it here to our customer service manager, blah, blah. We've come a long way from the days when we announced our Hurt books in the magazines. People had to send a self-addressed stamp envelope with their order, but we're still growing and learning and hope to make this a great experience for all our customers each year. For an interesting history of our Hurt book sale, you can watch this video with our founder. I'm not watching it. So anyway, I did not respond to that. I let it go at that point, but I was like, 50% of my shipping. Really? 50%. You're going to give me $5 back. After all that, screw you, Reef Press. Screw you. You're not getting my business anymore. I will still order Reef Press books because they're good, but I'm not ordering from Reef Press anymore. If they don't care enough to make it right for me in a way that is proving to me that I am important to them, they don't get my money. They don't get it. So I will shop from Amazon or I will shop from my local yarn store. I will do anything I can to keep my money out of InnerWeavePress.com's hands because that's freaking ridiculous. I'm irritated. I'm sorry about the language, but I'm irritated. In the completely opposite end of that, Associated Bag, who I told you last week had called me to tell me that they were upgrading my shipping, called me on or emailed me on Tuesday and said, we're just checking to make sure you got your order. And on Monday, via UPS, I received my free samples, but I hadn't received the actual order. And I emailed them back and said, I got my free samples, thank you very much, but I haven't yet received my envelopes, my mailing envelopes, the stuff I ordered. But don't worry about it, it'll probably show up tomorrow. Well, they went and checked on my order via the UPS tracking information. Found out that UPS, not them, but UPS had misdirected my order, refunded my entire $12.21 worth of shipping, and personally apologized to me to make sure that I knew that they were sorry. They didn't even screw up. UPS screwed up. They didn't screw up, and they refunded all of my shipping and apologized. That's how you do customer service in Reef Press. You need to be taking a lesson from AssociatedBag.com because their customer service blows yours completely out of the water. Sorry, my blood pressure gets all spiked when I get irritated. If you ordered from the Hurt book sale and you're not happy with your shipping times and they didn't tell you that it was going to take longer than normal, email them. Email them, contact them, write on their Facebook wall, tweet Interweave News. It's at Interweave News. Do whatever you have to. Use social media as a tool to let them know that you're not satisfied. Because unless people speak up, they're going to keep on doing what they're doing. And really, $10.69 is way more frigging shipping than they need to be paying. I think they're trying to make the money back on the Hurt books by selling the Hurt books cheap and making it back on the shipping. That's maybe a conspiracy theory, but that's my theory. So anyway, I need to move on. I'm getting all fired up. Okay, growth. That was processes, by the way. Growth. I am going to be, I'm waiting for a phone call. I'll get into that in a minute, but I'm waiting for this phone call. And as soon as I get that phone call and I'm done with that, I'm going to be contacting Stephen of Dramatic Knit's local yarn store. They've expressed interest in carrying Highland Handmaid's fiber and spindles. So cross your fingers that very soon I'll be available in Illinois in a local yarn shop. Wouldn't that be cool? So cool. I also have a bunch of vendor applications to be filling out. I have 2 that I'm going to be on the waiting list for. The Big E in Western Mass, which I just missed. I was on their mailing list, but I didn't get the memo that their applications were due in January for a November show. So I'm going to be on the waiting list for the Big E, and I'm going to be on the waiting list for Vermont Sheep and Wool, which is another one that I would really like to go to but haven't done before. But they have a waiting list because so many people want to go. So. And then I'm also doing filling out the application for Fiber Mania, which I was at last year. I'm in because I signed back up to go back in last year, but there are opportunities to teach and also I think to speak. One of the things that they're going to be doing speaking things about is entrepreneurship, business, making your hobby business. And I think that, with the podcast, I ought to be pretty qualified to talk about that. So hopefully I can teach and vend and even maybe speak this year. So stay tuned. Okay. Grab your hands. I'm over the whole I don't buy yarn thing. I gotta say, I really do have to say, I'm over it. Last week was quite a week. Monday and Tuesday, I spent doing just regular household chores and dealing with shop stuff. Of course, I had a big, huge update on Monday. Which went very well. Thank you all very much. And I was on the computer, I think 11 hours on Monday, doing the update, listing the stuff, watching the update, setting the update to go live, and then on PayPal printing packing slips and the shipping and all of that stuff. So I was on the computer like 11 hours on Monday and then a bunch more on Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I had job interviews every day. Now I'm a teacher. I'm a high school English teacher, and I'm looking to change districts. I want to move towards the coast. My husband and I both want to be on the coast. We've made the decision that one of us needs to make some forward progress. So I'm going to go to the coast. Yeah. So I had job interviews. And Wednesday was the first job interview of that week, and it was down in Camden, Rockport. Now, if this is Maine. This is Maine. Okay. I'm in the middle. And Camden Rockport is down here. This is like a 2-hour drive to the coast. Right underneath Camden, this is Camden. Right here, that's Katie from Knitting on the Fly podcast. So Wednesday was my birthday. It was my 30th birthday on Wednesday. I was not really happy to turn 30, but birthdays are always a good time. So I had the job interview at 10:30 in the morning. I called Katie at 11:30 when I got out and said, "Where are you at? Let's meet up." Katie had also called our friend Tina. And so Tina and Katie and I all got together. We had lunch at Cappy's, this little restaurant right in town, Camden, and hung out. Now, they gave me presents. I'll start with Tina's. Tina gave me this super adorable tape measure. It's a little sheep. And its tail comes out, and it's a little tape measure. And then you push on its butt. You push on its butt right here. This is its tail, but its butt back here. I don't know. And that's what you push to, because it locks, and then you push it to put it back in. I love this guy. Isn't he cute? Little brown sheep. Oh, I love him. So Tina gave me that. She's totally unnecessary. I did not ask them to send me presents. But then Katie, of course, has to one-up everybody. I don't think she does it intentionally. I just think she's naturally, like, incredibly caring and giving and a wonderful friend. Katie went stash diving to give me a gift. But she didn't just stash dive anything. She stash dived into her Volamiza stash. Are you kidding? She gave me Volamiza. Katie gave me Volamiza. I didn't trade her. I didn't pay her. She just gave it to me. Holy freaking crap. This is Volamiza's 80/20 twin in the mouse. I don't know how to say that. It's a young mouse. I Google translated it. The young mouse colorway. It's like a soft tonal grays, and it almost kind of goes into lavender at one point too. It's kind of a purpley gray. It's beautiful. I've never even touched Volamiza before. I never bought any. I didn't try. I really figured that it was going to be like Alice in Wonderland going down the rabbit hole. So I was avoiding it. And then Katie gave me some, and that's all I have to say about that. I haven't knit with it, obviously. I haven't taken it out of its thing, obviously. I'm just going to leave it right here until it tells me what it wants to be. I'm not really sure. 510 yards, 150 grams. Full of Misa. So, Katie and Tina gave me presents, which was awesome. And then Tina had to leave because she thought she had an appointment. Turns out her appointment is this week, not last week. She had no idea. Like, she walked in and they were like, what are you doing here? So, Tina left, and Katie and I went to the Cashmere Goat, which is a new yarn shop in Camden. The old yarn shop that was there, I don't remember the name of it. The woman had a stroke and they had to close, unfortunately. So this is the new yarn shop. It's called the Cashmere Goat. A knitting emporium welcomes you. It's on Bayview Street in Camden. This is their info. I don't see a website information on there, and there's nothing on the back, so I don't know if they don't have a website yet. They're brand new. I guess they just opened, so Katie was willing to forgive them a whole lot because of that. I was less willing to forgive them. They had great yarns. They had a lot of stuff that, not super high-end, but they had good stuff. I mean, they had, oh my god, what did they have? They had Noro, they had Cascade, they had, they didn't have any Red Heart or Lion Brand. I mean, it was the good stuff. I ended up buying 2 skeins of yarn. One I said I was going to give to knit something for my husband, but I'm probably not. After those socks, like, he's not getting anything else. So, I got a ball of Zauberball from Shoppelval. And this is a fingering weight in teal and black. Beautiful. And it seems, now this is written in German, so I could be wrong, but I think it's called Cafe Flair. 420 meters, 100 grams. It says every sock is artwork. And these are just long color repeats. A lot of black, a lot of teal, and there's like the where they mix and stuff. So this is going to become a bottom-up shawl. I'd like to think that I would design one. We'll see. It's super squishy. I can't decide if I want to wind it into a center pull ball or just knit with it from the way it is. I don't know. We'll see. And then the other thing I bought is Lang Yarn's Jawwall Magic. It's a W. Jawwall Magic. And this is super wash. This is another fingering weight. It has a beautiful blend of colors. It starts with some golden, sort of pea green, into a chestnut, into a blue, and then kind of a grayish as well. So it's got a lot. It's like a marled yarn. This is a singles yarn. It looks kind of barber pole-y, but it's a singles yarn, just like the Zauberball is. It's pretty. I like it. This was the one I thought that I was going to knit something for my husband out of. I'm probably not going to. No, not going to. I knit something for myself. Shh, don't tell him. Okay. Let's see. She gave me Volumisa. Tina went to an appointment. Okay. The Cashmere Goat as a space is a nice store. It's got plenty of space. It's kind of an interesting shaped building. It's kind of like on the corner of 2 streets, so it starts narrow and goes wide. I wish that the lady who was working there would have left us alone. Like, she followed Katie and I around the store, and every time we made a comment, she would, like, interject something. We were looking at this neat ribbon yarn, and she's like, oh, look what it knits. You just knit through this side, and it creates this big frilly thing. I'm like, okay, thanks. I probably could have figured that out. And then, like, I picked up a white skein of Cascade. I was like, oh, Katie, look at this. And she's like, oh, is that where you're going to knit? Are you looking for that for a specific project? Like, stop trying to help me. If I want your help, I will ask you for it, okay? Clearly, Katie and I, knitters. I had my freaking Namaste bag, okay? Do you know non-knitters that use Namaste? Because I sure don't. Really? 5 seconds of listening to our conversation would have told her that we were knitters. I correctly pronounced Zauberball. Come on. Irritated again. This is like the pissed off episode. I'm sorry. Katie was trying to be like, well, maybe she was just excited because they're brand new. And maybe she was. Maybe I was just not. I don't know. I don't like being followed around. I think that it makes me feel like I'm suspicious in some way. And really, Katie and I are both podcasters, big knitters. Big knitters. Stop following us. Anyway, Katie's hoping that they'll have a knit night, and maybe they'll be doing classes and stuff like that. So we'll see. So anyway, that was Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I had job interviews. So Thursday was a job interview in another district, and then Friday I went back down to Camden for a second interview with the superintendent. I'm waiting for him to call me today to tell me if I got the job or not. It's 9:40. If he doesn't call me by 11, I'm calling him. I can't deal with, I've been waiting by the phone all weekend. I haven't done anything. I'm afraid to go to the bathroom because I'm afraid I'll miss the call. Like, it's bad. So, anyway, what was I talking about? Oh my God, this is going to be an hour-long episode. Oh, after the interview, which got over, it was supposed to be at noon, but when I got there at 10 o'clock in the morning, I called them, and he was like, come on in. So we had our interview. And then afterwards, I went to Katie's house in Owl's Head, and we went for a flying. We went flying in her little airplane that she has, that she brought home. It was her grandparents' airplane. I'd never been in a tiny plane before. I've only flown a couple of times, so flight just in general is still a novelty for me. I totally understand now why she does what she does. Because if I had been a kid flying in that airplane, I would have become a pilot too. It was amazing. The views, the experience, it was fantastic, and I can't wait to do it again because it was so awesome. Our weather was a little bit overcast, but it was still, you could see everything, and it was so beautiful. And Maine towns on the coast are very populated. There's a lot crammed into a small space. And I really thought that the coast was largely just all buildings. I had no idea how much woods there still were on the coast of Maine. Like, you look down and it's just forest. And then there's like a couple of buildings, and then forest, and then a couple of buildings, and a little town, and then forest. Like, I had no idea there was still that many trees on coastal Maine. And I've lived here my entire life. You just don't ever see it from the air, you know? It was just awesome. So, fingers crossed, everybody, that Camden calls me today and offers me the job. Because if that happens, I'll be moving to the Camden area, this close to Katie and Tina, so there'll be joint podcasting going on all the time. So please cross your fingers, folks. If I don't get it, I'll take the other job that I interviewed for on Thursday. They have already offered me the position, but I really want to live in Camden. So please say I got the job. So that's that. Okay. Very lastly, I swear to you, this is almost done. I have a bunch of thank yous to do this week, and some of them are incredibly overdue. First, a couple of people came to visit me at Fiber Frolic this year, and they've come to my booth in the past, and they came back this year, and they are just so nice and wonderful and fantastic. Ruth, who came to Acadia Fiber Fair too, and I have a picture of her on the blog, I think, can pack more yarn on a spindle than I've ever seen. And she loves her highly handmade spindle, and she, it was really great to see her and to have her show me what she did. So, hi Ruth. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And the other person was spindle related as well, and that's Karen V. Now, we met Karen V last year, our first year at Frolic. She and her, I think it's her boyfriend or her husband. I think it's her boyfriend. They have an alpaca farm, and she bought a spindle last year, and she was in my booth raving about my spindles. Now, they're the best spindles that she's ever spun with, and she freaking loves it, and it's amazing, and everybody should have one. And 3 people bought spindles while she was in my booth because she was raving about them so much. So thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. We love that you love highly handmade spindles, and we hope that you keep coming back because you're a lot of fun, and we love you. So, Ruth and Karen, thank you. Also, I watch a lot of video podcasts, and I was watching the Expectant Knitter the other day. I don't watch her every week because, frankly, pregnancy scares the crap out of me, and, like, I'm frightened. But she's funny, and she's adorable, and she's in Maine. So I try and watch her when I can. And she had mentioned in one of her episodes recently that she had been to Fiber Frolic. And as soon as she said that, I said, she was in my booth Saturday morning. She bought 2 skeins of Corey and the black cherry lace. Knew immediately who she was, what she'd bought, when she was there. Do you think I recognized her when she was in my freaking booth? Of course not. Didn't occur to me. She looked familiar. I remember thinking that. Did not make the connection when she was in my booth. I am so sorry. I swear to you, if you come to another fiber event that I'm at, I will recognize you next time. Promise. I felt so bad. Oh, man. I was on part going, man, I'm poop. I didn't say poop, I said the S word, but I'm trying to keep it clean. Thanks for visiting. Thanks for being great. Thanks for buying my yarn. Next time I'll do better. Okay, now, I mentioned last Wednesday that was my birthday. Mentioned that last Wednesday was my birthday. I really have some major thanks to go out to the people who made my birthday so special. People who knew it was my birthday, very generous. Several people gifted me patterns on Ravelry. Dramatic Knits, Rain Lover, You Don't Call Me Less, Taunt All, I think is how you say that. Mad About Matisse, thank you. Thank you so much. Many of those projects are going to be cast on very, very soon. They give me some awesome, awesome patterns now. I'm really excited to start knitting those, so some other things need to get finished quick. To everybody who mentioned me on Plurk, who sent me a message on Ravelry, who... Oh, there's the phone. That was the call. I didn't get the job. Damn it! That was not what I wanted to hear this morning. He did say that there might be another position come available, and if there is another position, all I have to do is give them a call and let them know I'm still interested. I want that one. I'm mourn here for a minute, if that's all right. I'm really disappointed. Where was I? To everyone who left me birthday messages on Plurk, on Facebook, on Twitter, thank you very much. Birthdays are very special to me, even though this was a crummy 30th birthday, death of my youth kind of day. I still like feeling special, and you all definitely did that for me. So thank you so much. I really, really thank you. I tried to respond to everybody on Plurk and Facebook who posted happy birthday messages. If I missed you, I'm really sorry, but I appreciate you anyway, so thank you so much. I think finally, that's all for this week. Until next week, guys, happy spinning and knitting. Don't forget to tell me what you think I should make out of the Shetland. Happy spinning and knitting, guys, and thanks for tuning in.